What's going on, people, and welcome back to a new Premier League predictions for Game Week 12. Only games on Saturday and Sunday this week, no midweek games, and obviously we've got the international break coming up after this set of games, which is just a joke. It always is. Unless it's of anything of any worth, which it never really is. Into this then, 12:30 starting off on Saturday, we've got Wolves versus Tottenham. I've actually gone with a 1-1 draw in this because I feel like Wolves can trouble Tottenham in this because Tottenham have all the injury issues they now have. Maddison looks a bit unclear if he's going to be available. He's just pulled out of the England squad. Van de Ven, we're not sure when he's going to be back. Christian Romero is now banned as well. Udogi's also banned. So Tottenham have got a few issues, especially in the defence, in terms of players missing and key players. It's going to be interesting to see if they can still perform to the level they have been. So I think being the away team in this, going to Wolves, who aren't playing terribly at the moment, I think Wolves might get something from the game. Gary O'Neill I rate as well as a manager for what he's done with the teams he's been at so far. So I think Wolves could grab a point in this, so I'm going to say 1-1. Arsenal versus Burnley at 3 o'clock. I've gone with an Arsenal win in this one, pretty convincing. I'm going 3-0. I just think Burnley are really struggling. I thought they'd have more points at this point so far in the season, but they're not quite doing it under company, so I can't see anything else other than 3 points and a clean sheet for Arsenal. 3-0. Crystal Palace versus Everton. I've gone with a 1-1 draw. Eze is now back for Palace. Obviously Elise might be back pretty soon too, but with Eze coming back, it does boost Palace a bit, and they got one of the best defensive records in the league at the moment. Everton have been better in recent weeks and getting some results that they weren't in previous. I've gone with a draw in this one. I'm going 1-1. Manchester United versus Luton. I'm going with a 2-0 home win to Manchester United in this one. Obviously, we just had a disappointing loss to Copenhagen in the Champions League. Doesn't hugely surprise me. But against Luton, I expect us to get 3 points. Hopefully a clean sheet as well. But 3 points at minimum has to be for Manchester United in this game. I'm going 2-0. Bournemouth versus Newcastle at 5:30. I'm going with Newcastle to win away from home, 2-0. I just think they've got too much depth, too much quality. And even though Newcastle are going to be missing Burn, and Botman's still out, for me, obviously Isak as well is missing, but for me, they've still got so much quality and depth that I think they will get a result. Against the Bournemouth side that's not really captivating the league at the moment, so away from home, despite that, I'm still going Newcastle 2-0. Going into Sunday's games at 2 o'clock, we've got Aston Villa versus Fulham. I'm going with a 1-0 win to Villa in this one. I think they could win potentially by more. Fulham are struggling at the moment, not scoring enough goals, not getting the results. And I think Villa will capitalise on that. And they've got a great home form this season as well. So I'm going 1-0, but I think it could be more. Brighton versus Sheffield. I'm going for the home team in this one with Brighton, 2-0. I just think Sheffield are, like, they don't always play poorly, but they struggle to hold on to a point in the game or take advantage even if they're in the lead, and they just don't have enough firepower for me. So I think at Brighton, tough place, decent side, it's going to be tough for Sheffield. 2-0 Brighton. Liverpool versus Brentford. A lot of people think this is an automatic 3 points for Liverpool, but I'm not that naive. Brentford are a very, very, very good side. And because of that, even though it's Anfield, I'm going to go for Brentford to grab a draw. I think they really could get a point from the game because in Burmo, Visser, Jensen, and even some of the centre-backs from set pieces can cause problems. So I wouldn't be surprised if Brentford could get something from the game. I'm going to go with a draw in this one, 2-2. But I think most people will go with a Liverpool win. But I'm going to say 2-2. West Ham versus Nottingham Forest. I've gone with a home win for West Ham in this one. And I'm going to go 3-1. It just beat Olympiacos in the Europa last night. Owen's in tremendous form this season. Forest can be tricky on their day, but more so when they're at home. And because they're away, I can't see them really getting anything from this. But who knows? They can make it difficult for teams. Maybe they could grab a point. I can't see them winning though. But I'm going to go with West Ham. 3 points, 3-1. And then lastly for this week, guys, 4:30 kickoff on Sunday. We've got Chelsea versus Manchester City. Chelsea in the last few weeks have been getting there a little bit. I feel like they're getting points here and there and they're improving. But it's Man City. And I think they're one of the few teams in the league that have as much depth as they do, the quality they do, and they all work like they're not as good as they are. Like, their work rate is tremendous for the players, and the egos that Pep has to manage in that team. He does a tremendous job of it, and I think like he can afford to rotate every other game and get away with it because they've got that much quality, and how he just drills his team. So I know it's at Chelsea, but I feel like City are going to have too much quality. I'm going to go 2-0 away win for City. So that is it for this week's Game Week predictions, guys. Game Week 12. Make sure your fantasy teams are set up before the deadline. Good luck with your points for the fantasy this week. I'm thinking about maybe doing some fantasy content going forward. I'm a big fan of other YouTubers that do it, and it could be something new I could bring to the channel. So I might, if you're interested in that, but I might do it anyway. But it's something I'm considering doing. Appreciate everyone supporting. Let me know who you've got in the comments this week, how you fancy your team's chances. Have a good one. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the football. Peace.